So I've been reading Game of Thrones, and while doing that I've been taking notes of every chapter, and right now I have read the prologue, and one of the questions I have had was, what is up with Waymar Royce? Now, when I first read this, I just thought he was some cocky dude that just didn't know what he was doing and got his ass kicked by some others. But upon a reread, and then another reread, I've come across like something really weird about him. What do I mean? Well, let's go over my notes about Royce. First, Royce asks if the dead frightened Daenerys with a bit of a smile. Nothing odd here, seems a little cocky though. Royce says that the dead can provide information. Nothing weird here. Royce gives a reflective look before dismounting his horse to follow Will while looking into the distance. Wait. Why is he so deep in thought if he just thinks that it's just another mission, another random thing? Royce gives a disdainful look. Alright, so we've gone from cocky to deep in thought to cocky. Royce yells gods and swings his sword at a branch. Now he's losing his cool? Will even notes earlier that he doubted Royce would swing his sword foolishly or in anger. What could have possibly caused him to lose his cool? And really, Royce's sword is also really weird if you think about it. Royce joined the Night's Watch less than a half year prior. The sword is brand new, and Royce refuses to leave it at his mount after following Will. And probably the weirdest thing about his sword is that it can somehow stand up to an other's blade for like a long time. Like, he gets at least 8 strokes in before it finally breaks. And only 2 things are said to stand up to others' blades: dragon glass and dragon steel. Assuming that the show is correct, that would mean Valyrian steel could stand up against the other's blade, which I honestly think is a safe bet. So going off that, I would like to offer the theory that Royce's sword is reworked Valyrian steel. I don't think it's terribly far out there because the Norvosi know how to rework it, and it would explain why Royce got a brand new sword that could stand up to others' blade, whilst not being named Valyrian steel. And since it's reworked, it explains why it failed at the end, but not completely at the beginning. And lastly, when he does face an other, he does seem uncertain, but the sword shows that he was ready to face them. And finally, with the theory of Royce's sword being reworked Valyrian steel, I also came across the idea that House Royce knows what's going on beyond the wall, or at least has some idea. House Royce is a really ancient house, so Waymar would definitely know about the others, or at least have a little bit of information. And his new Sword and Sun entries suggest that there might be something more going on with his character than what is let on. And it also explains his weird mood swings. He goes from cocky to reflective to disdainful to losing his cool, and then he fights another. Also in the chapter, Will notes that he and Garrett can feel something amiss in the wood, so it wouldn't be too far off to say that Waymar can feel that too. Assuming that he does know, it could explain why he was trying to act all cocky but then losing his cool later on. There is one thing that stands away to this theory, and that is that Royce demanded no fire. If he knew the others were possibly around, then he should want a fire. Though if I recall correctly, fire isn't said to be another's weakness, only dragon glass and dragon steel. I mean, I'm sure it could be, but then again, when you throw fire at water, what usually happens? Also, the show is correct again. The others cold can easily just put out fire. And I think that even happens in the books as well. I know Royce didn't want fire because it would attract enemies, and assuming that he knows about the others, he may just know that fire just really wouldn't do much for them. So in all, Waymar and House Royce seem to be way more than what meets the eye. And it seems like Waymar's sword may also be reworked Valyrian steel. And it seems very possible that House Royce knows about the others. But who knows, maybe I'm overthinking everything, and maybe a chair is just a chair. But until I get any disproof or further evidence on the contrary, I'm going to study the hell out of this chair. I'll see you guys in Chapter 1.